Welcome to the fifth in a series of short vlogs that we've been putting together, just illustrating some of our thinking on training data exploitation. And this fifth vlog is a brief piece just about, or more specifically, focusing on metrics. There's probably another one of these golden threads running through this, and that reaches down from JETLs through metals into collective training objectives or collective competency objectives, and then down into metrics, measures of performance, and into key performance indicators. So this is a complex chain, and if you have been involved in force development experimentation, then you have been exposed at various points to how that chain fits together. And we've had the luxury of that exposure over the last few years, both in dismounted close combat domains, but also in mounted close combat, and also to a significant degree in the sort of command and control domain. The sort of three-column format to describe collective training performance, collective training objectives of a task, a condition under which it is to be conducted, and then the standard to which it's being conducted remains largely unchallenged and pretty common across most armies. And the challenge always seems to have been to actually put substance into that third column about standard. And to a degree, you could argue that most of the statements that are made about standard are no such thing. They're certainly not easily measured. They're not all that objective, and we sense the irony there is that armies very often sit on and possess measures and standards that they don't then fold into their collective training system. And these are things like marksmanship standards. These are things like physical fitness standards that in turn can be derived into movement rates that then don't find their way into collective training objective statements themselves. We've felt for a while that when you take training exploitation to its logical conclusions, there are three main users, three main beneficiaries out of following this type of approach. The first two are connected to each other, and that's an after-action review audience in which you are seeking to punctuate the after-action review in some way with access to some of that performance measurement. Now, it doesn't want to contest, and it need not contest, the philosophy of the after-action review as it is currently, the no-blame environment, the sharing, the discussion, the interplay and exchange between the facilitator and the audience. But getting the audience access to some of its own performance measures as they disaggregate and as they relate directly to them and their part of the battle is potentially extremely powerful. Now, some of that, of course, is going to be of immediate and direct interest to force development users, but force development users have other interests and perhaps are looking more longitudinally at this. So developing a single approach to this, a single dashboard, if you like, that can be used by after-action review users and force development users is probably a bit of a tall order, a bit of an ask. But actually, the sort of approaches that we've been looking at still allow you to use common and consistent approaches, but are specifically tailored to those two different users. The third element, which perhaps sits slightly to one side, is that customers of expensive training simulation systems are also extremely interested in understanding the performance of those systems, utilization rates, availability rates, and so on. And so they want more evidence, easier access to that sort of information, that sort of evidence, perhaps, than has been possible in the past. We've worn the pain on a number of force development related experiments over the last few years of manually analysing data coming out of training systems, coming out of operational systems, and trying to turn those into usable metrics. But enormous opportunities are arising almost daily with developments in machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms that actually are speeding up the rate, the degree, the extent, the scale at which we can undertake this sort of activity. And that opens up all sorts of opportunities that haven't previously existed. A number of sports analytics serve as interesting metaphors for the sort of developments that we are pursuing, that we have been taking an interest in. Insofar as sports analytics have largely gone down two particular avenues. One is to improve the user or viewer experience of sport, and the other is obviously to improve the coach's understanding of team performance, and some of that for both viewer and coach is in the descriptive domain, but some of it is increasingly moving into predictive and even prescriptive analytics, telling coaches about what they will need to do next if they are to improve performance in their teams. Some of it will no doubt affect the betting industry. It may begin to indicate to viewers wishing for a better viewer experience what is likely to be happening in this match as the match proceeds. And we're looking at all of these because I think they all have useful analogues for developments we might undertake for a military user.